Hello, Internet, and welcome to the latest episode of Rough Drafts Competes in our journey of Wrestling League. We have just finished the 5th pay-per-view, and I am almost finished rescoring all of our cards because it turns out there were a couple little nitpicks, little bugs in the code that had worked their way in that we are having to correct for manually until the new update comes out that we're very excited for. That will allow us to have an offline mode, so you won't have to worry about lag or anything like that. And we know everything in the formulas works and will be great. But until we reach that point, I am here assisted and comforted after the amount of maths I had to do by the lovely Xander. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. Math is fun. Math is great. Do more math.
I am a math guy. I was never a mathlete, but I mean, I was at one point on my high school's economics team, so I guess that was a lot of math. Don't ask how that happened. That was a journey and a half of its own right. But you know what? We don't have to do the maths on this episode. We're going to see what the game says the scores are. That'll give us a good general idea of where people shook out. We'll tell you the actual scores at the end here. But right now, that means we just get to focus on the storytelling. And Xander, I have to say, I think there's been a renewed sense of storytelling with our group. It seems like people are really doubling down on some narratives, and I'm excited to share those today.
I think that I just to comment on that, I think that what Eduardo and Walter were kind of spearheading from the beginning, really, in terms of how they started crafting their storylines, and then kind of doubling down on it midway through. I think you and I picked up on that pretty hardcore, and we started running with it ourselves. You arguably a little more than me. I'm kind of the slowest one on the update, but nonetheless, I think the narrative and storytelling here is greater than ever, and I'm excited to go through these cards with you.
Absolutely. Just turns out looks pretty fun. And let's see what fun Walter has in store for us. He only had 6 matches on this particular card. He low rolled just like Eduardo did a few.
Did he think about getting good?
Weeks back. I think he's thought about it, and I think his response was "fuck you, game," because the low rolls on a couple of those matches last time were rough. But we are right on into it, and I mean, just an incredible sequence here. We saw at the end of the last pay-per-view, Ethan Wilde came out and absolutely ruined Daniel Stevens. Is it Daniel Stevenson, right? Is it Steven Danielson? I forget the name in this one right now.
Daniel Stevenson.
I thought so. The important thing to note is that he had a shot to win a massive match, and he lost because Ethan Wilde came in and submarined him at the last moment. And there was these questions. What's happening in Eternum? Why would an Eternum person take down another Eternum person? And it turns out the answer is because Ethan Wilde is not interested in being a part of Eternum anymore. He, Dead Killer, Legend Killer, and Wesley Lee Morris have betrayed the members of Eternum and have now split up with a new faction called Chort, which it comes from Slavic mythology, and is a very interesting kind of angle here. Obviously, I told myself I would have this up because I did promise that to Walter that I would, and now it's just giving me. Okay, here we go. So it's a Slavonic word that I believe is associated with the devil and with despair, demise, very much playing into Ethan Wilde's skill set here. He plans to bring the end to the old school of Eternum, and he's got quite the powers to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking exciting.
Yeah. Now, on the one hand, Eternum did just lose a lot of people.
That's actually a huge XP hit. Were they rep 4 or were they rep 5? What's the?
Oh yeah,
they
rep
were rep
6.
5. Oh God.
Yeah, but
oh my.
I mean, that's what happens when you lose a guy like Ethan Wilde like this. Mm-hmm. But they did get 3 new hot members. M60, Algenico, and Rick Dolan all are over as a result of this match. And the Civil War has begun. That is a new feud between the two factions that will very much play out massively moving forward. So,
Huge.
obviously, the Eternum has to build themselves back up after losing such prominent members. But oh boy, am I excited to see a tournament chart play out. Excuse me.
100%.
Yes. Um, but we have now a tag submission match between the lads and the Kingdom. Now, of course, we know that Drew King has been trying to get Jules Murphy to join the Kingdom for a while now. This has been a feud, a headhunting feud that's been going back and forth for a bit. But Jules Murphy, he's happy with the lads. The lads put in a lot of work up until very recently. We're the tag champions, a faction that's had a lot of success in its own right. But, you know, Drew King just wearing him down slowly but surely. And you add in just a kind of level of disrespect between Alexander Palmer and Jules Murphy. I think, you know, you look at Alex Palmer, it's like, why are we wasting our time on this guy? We're strong enough already as the Kingdom. So we'll have to see. Do you think that division in goals between the Kingdom might end up costing them here? Or do you think they have the sheer power and force to get past the lads in this tag match?
Oh, excuse me. I don't know, honestly. Like, I probably want to see the Kingdom take the dub here. I think that, you know, with what's been going on with the lads lately, I think the Kingdom benefit most with these specific wrestlers. But, you know, again, these folks have never wrestled. They can go either way. I think that King and Palmer, you know, kind of showing up and putting the beat down on the first match between these two makes the most sense to me. But I'm curious to see where Walter went with it.
Yeah, well, of course, you know, the game doesn't do a very good job of representing the stats from the individual feuds which have been going on before this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it displays these, it's only talking about this specific duo and
Yeah.
this
The specific duo. Yeah.
But in this case, I think Walter saw the lads as having more potential to grow if you look at where they
Okay.
are on the popularity threshold. The lads are going to take it. It is a 4-star match, but look at the overness. You'll love to see that. You'll love to see a big morale boost. Patty Gilman is now over with the fans. And, you know, Jules Murphy has to be feeling pretty good at the synergy that he and his teammate just put on together and the reaction that they are getting from the crowd. Also, Walter has to be feeling pretty good about the holy shit moment he just got. I think a holy shit moment and 4 wrestlers going over is a pretty nice way to start a card.
100%. 100%. Not a bad way to go.
Now, of course, we are building up towards a feud for the ages, one that's been going on in the background with the SWA for a while now. Tyler Dynamite, Wesley Morris, 2 very talented competitors, very engaged in this back and forth feud, one that's had 2 different ties, as fans will remember correctly, 2 different times that we saw both shoulders hit the mat simultaneously. And we'll have to see if we can get a resolution here. But we do move on first to the Mildred S. Robinson Cup between Brooklyn Cambriel and Consequencia in a title match here. You know, Consequencia looked at the last card and said, look, I deserve a shot. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to win. And I want an opportunity. And Brooklyn Cambriel came to Walter and was like, look, I want to fight more. I want to prove as the supreme deity, as the leader, as who I believe is I'm one of the best female wrestlers in this promotion. I want to keep proving it. I want to go in even on a weekly. I don't care what the stage is. I want talented wrestlers and I want to beat them. And that's what Brooklyn's trying to do today against Consequencia, someone who would very much like to get her first win, would like to start climbing a little bit more up the card, and who is always ready to throw down with someone like a Brooklyn. So between these two, who do you think's taking
Brooklyn. I'm rooting for Brooklyn. No sleep till Brooklyn. All right. I made the one mistake one time. First of all, Walter has given me nonstop grief about this. I still talked her up. I just thought he wasn't going to do it. okay? Because the other times before that, I said, so Walter's saying I lost faith. I never lost faith. I always had faith, okay? But, all right, maybe I was half wrong one time. Now, won't happen again. I'm never going to not, I don't care when she loses the belt. I will never not root for Brooklyn anymore, all right? So, Brooklyn.
No sleep.
Don't even ask me this question.
No
Brooklyn.
sleep till Brooklyn. No sleep without Brooklyn.
Yep.
No match without a Brooklyn W.
And great form.
Great form. You'll love to see that. It's a nice little boost for them. Obviously, Consequencia, a minor popularity hit, but nothing that can't be overcome with another win down the line. It is important to
and Amelie promotes, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Amelie promotes from the last segment. Very big. Having a level 2 producer is going to be great. And we might just be about to get a package that will give him a level 2 production facility as well. So Walter might be joining the rest of us in the leveled up producer shenanigans, or level up production facility shenanigans. But more importantly here, the Mildred S. Robinson Cup has now become a silver belt, which means
huge.
Yes, Walter's unlocked the Option C segment, which I have looked into, and it's a fascinating one. Essentially, you have someone vacate their title for a match contract at a higher prestige title.
Nice. So wait, what does the match contract do? Like, is it just?
It's just a guaranteed. I get a shot at the title belt.
That's awesome, actually. Just for the record, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, you can imagine someone like, an Ethan Wilde one day saying, "Fuck it, I want to be the world champion, not just the men's champion." And so that kind of thing's a really interesting deal to have.
I can imagine. I wish I had this before Emily Everett lost her belt.
You may now. We'll have to go back and check. But for now, we have to just give Walter credit. It's a nice 4.5-star match. Got to be feeling good about that. Here is indeed, I told you that recap package was going in. Down Under versus Hollywood Undown versus Prestigious versus the Neon Wings. I mean, what a tag belt match that was.
For real.
I love Neon Wings. Down Under I thought were great champions, but Hollywood Bound with a very nice win. And there it is indeed, the recap package unlock. I forget, it doesn't tell you that you got the production facility, but I can assure you Walter has leveled up his production, has the ability to level up his production facility. So he'll be joining us with more matches every week, which just means more room for storytelling with people like Tyler Dynamite and Wesley Lee Morris. I mentioned earlier, they've got the 2 ties. They had those finishes, the double pin, that really added a lot here. But, as individuals, right, they've also gone, had their ups and downs. Wesley Lee Morris, 0-2 right now in the ring as an individual wrestler. And Tyler Dynamite has the one pure win in this feud. Bringing the boom, proving the 26-year-old heel has what it takes. But man, I mean, you look at a guy like Wesley Lee Morris, you look at his, a gifted acrobat, a workhorse, a storyteller, and someone who is able to really do a lot if he were to get into that main event status. I mean, who do you think's taking the W here?
I, of course, would like to see Wesley Lee Morris win this one. Reason being, Wesley, okay, is right on that cusp of popularity. Tyler Dynamite is really high. Now, I have a feeling Walter might be pushing Tyler Dynamite way up the card. So if he gives it to him here, the 4-4, heel, I totally get it. Mm-hmm. But again, I know he's been using Wesley Lee a lot in some of these other matches. And getting him to that main event status would be huge. Also, his morale is 77%, which isn't low. I know Tyler Dynamite's not a ton higher, but I think kind of equalizing between these two has a little bit more merit here just because of what Walter has been doing with Wesley Lee Morris. Mm-hmm. So, I would like to see Wesley get it, but I understand if Tyler is the one who takes the win here.
Yeah,
I think there's upside for both. I think, in my opinion, Wesley's is slightly higher.
I think you nailed it on the head. I think if you like Wesley Lee Morris, you want Wesley to go on and do some great things up the card. The win here makes a lot of sense. But Walter, I do believe is with you on the pushing Tyler Dynamite, getting that top tier heel. And it turns out you can do both.
That makes sense. And you can do both. So great.
Yeah, just get a nice 4.5-star match. It's easy. I don't see what the problem is,
Yeah, I don't know. Why are we talking about it?
Another holy shit moment.
Open my mouth for no reason.
Look at that. The elbow drop from the top rope. Submission match is not quite leveled up yet. Looks like it'll probably be 2 matches to get there, but very much will be getting there sooner rather than
Very
later.
close. Yes.
And that's a solid card. I mean, it's going to be scored
Yeah.
at 4.25. I think when we do the rescoring, it'll probably stay there, I imagine. Just because we got a
Yeah.
couple of those 4 stars, and the 4.5 versus 4
Yep.
3/4, I don't think the difference is huge. But a 4.25 is very consistent for a
Good.
weekly.
Yeah, for a weekly. Yeah, that's good stuff.
And a weekly with only 6 slots too. He really had to do.
Yeah, I know. He had to exactly do a lot with a little.
But
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna just keep looking at that Eternum here. You got 3 people over, and you submarined Eternum's reputation. How Daniel Stevenson builds his way back up will be the real question. But we move on now to me, because I had the second worst score at the last pay-per-view, at least
Yay!
by
No,
the
I'm just
original
kidding.
scoring system.
Yeah.
I may or may not have been ripped off a little bit. We will see when the final scores are revealed.
Well, and even if you were, we should leave it because it's you. No, I'm just kidding.
See, I thought the same thing about you. Oh,
Yeah.
look at us.
Oh, look at us.
It's the gift of the Magi, but the exact opposite.
Excuse me, sir.
Uh-huh.
I believe that my 6.5 star main event that didn't get doubled is pretty awesome. Okay, so
let's be clear. You win no matter what. It's just whether I get to tie, Eduardo. Nothing was coming close to your card. That card was fucking insane. Going back over it for the sake of rescoring, insane. But look.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
We're on the road to Bounds of Destiny.
Yes.
And since this last kind of session, these last block of weeklies, I have made a narrative Bible with my company.
He did, folks, and it's insane. It's a little ridiculous. All right.
Do you want to guess the over under on the final page count?
I don't. It's gonna upset me. How many? Just tell me how many.
14.
Oh my god. So yeah, folks, you'll be able to buy Chase's story narrative about the his promotion. It'll be 300-page paperback.
Yeah.
You'll be able to find it on Amazon and at all, Barnes and Noble, all of the stores that are now out of business thanks to Amazon. Of course Audible, where you'll have me reading it out. I'll have done that for free in return for Chase giving me free stuff in all of the other things we do. So
look, all I'm saying is if I end up buying Worldwide Wrestling, the tabletop RPG in a wrestling world, and yeah, I have a lot of lore built up and ready to go for the players to have to overcome. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
No.
But let's see how some of these narratives play out, because we start with quite the match on our hands. It is a street fight between Alana, Elise, and Tijuana King. And you might be saying to yourself, Chase, these are the 2 members of Rude Awakening. These are teammates. These are people who have been fighting together, who held the women's tag team title, the Keepers of the Realm, for 2 months. Like a genuine rise to power. And to what I say is, well, Tijuana King's fed up. She believes that she is being held back. She should be the king of this promotion. As a 19-year-old 4-3 heel who's been on the rise and has done a great job of building herself, had a little bit of action in solo matches that she's done well in, she believes that she's doing all the right things. And she's willing to do whatever it takes to win. But Alana, this philosophist, this holier-than-thou persona, who gets too hung up on the details to do what it takes to win, she thinks is holding her back. And Alana, she goes into this, she's like, look, I don't want to fight you. I don't want this to be the end of this thing that we've built. But if you are going to keep crapping on me and blaming me for losses like the loss that we just took at Final Destination, then I have to prove you wrong. I have to stand up for myself. I can't let you treat me this way. And
exciting.
So we have this street fight match. Who's the best? We're going to find out. And it will be the end of Rude Awakening. But
Oh boy.
We'll see who wins the divorce of Rude Awakening here.
Tijuana King wins it.
Do you think Tijuana King wins the opening match?
I think Tijuana King wins it. I think Tijuana King, much to the dismay of Alana, gets proven correct here, and is the one being held back. I think it's a great way to start the feud. It puts a chip on Alana at least's shoulders. I like the idea behind it, I guess. I don't know. I think if you're going to have like a split like that, having the one that is, I guess, the nicer one win it, isn't my favorite. I still see the angle. It's still a great angle.
In a street fight specifically, interesting.
Yeah, I really just like the idea of Tijuana King coming out here and putting the beat down on Alana and really, in my mind, right, like taking Alana and saying, hey, you know what? You do have stuff to improve on. You're not that far behind, but now you've got all the reason in the world to grind and get to the level of Tijuana that you didn't appreciate you were at, and even if you weren't the reason for those losses, that is how it is perceived now. You've got to grind for not just yourself, but for everyone's perception of you in the promotion.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It has to be Tijuana King here. It's a nice 4-star match. Starts this Who's the Best feud. It looks like the group doesn't actually break up until the end of the feud, which is kind of fascinating. Because that is a consequence of a Who's the Best feud, is that
Gotcha.
The tag. I mean, they're not going to fight as a tag anymore in the lore.
Yeah.
Tijuana's fucking done. But yeah, I mean, that's the question: is what will Alana Elise have to do to catch back up and to make this a meaningful match? Because at 648 popularity, Alana's got a lot of climbing to do, and we'll see how she finds her path. But we go now to Victor Magnus versus Yellow Arrow. And obviously, everyone knows Yellow Arrow of the Magic Missiles. He is currently a tag Defenders of the Realm champion. He has done an incredible job as a tag team member. Now, as an individual wrestler, he's had some ups and downs. He's someone that had to go on his own when Red Arrow was injured for quite a while. He had to try to prove himself to make his way, and he won a battle royale. But outside of that, he has struggled. And meanwhile, Victor Magnus, the head of the Southern Sentries, a faction leader, a master of strong style, has had his own ups and downs. He just got a huge popularity boost from a win at the last pay-per-view. He's obviously going to be feeling very good about... actually, he lost at the Battle Royale at the last pay-per-view. He must have gotten a big one from Chaos Controlled. I'm thinking of his 8-way unsanctioned match from the previous
that tracks
event. But he's done a good enough job climbing up the card where he can, but the wins have been inconsistent. And in a faction like the Southern Sentries, if you're not proving yourself day in, day out, someone's going to come for you. So it's really important for Victor to prove his strength and take on a guy like Yellow Arrow, who doesn't even have his tag partner here to help him out. So, who do you think is taking the W?
Yellow Arrow keeps it for right now. Yellow Arrow wins this match, rather, not keeps it, but Yellow Arrow wins this match only because while Victor is the level that he is, I think him losing builds a little bit more story here. I know he's the leader of a faction and all that, but listen, I want to see Yellow Arrow get a singles win, a big singles win at that. The fact that it happens in a tables match, and I think Victor having a little bit more, going back to that chip on his shoulder identity, right? I think this faction has kind of had a chip on their shoulder, and I think giving them more reason to do that, and then you have them kind of explode, makes a lot of sense to me. Now, if he wins because he's a faction leader, that's also understandable. This is one of those ones I can kind of see it going either way because the story building works. I do think Yellow Arrow getting pushed further up the card, though, is pretty massive, only because I know he's been primarily used in the tag stuff. But that dude's like face of the company status, not far away. It has huge benefit to your tag belt, as well as being able to utilize him in some higher solos matches. And, again, Victor, I don't necessarily know loses a ton here if he loses to Yellow Arrow. The only thing I would say loses, right, is the faction that he leads.
I understand what you're saying, and I do like Yellow Arrow as a competitor. However, he is a tag guy. And I think without Red Arrow, he is taking a little bit of a weakness. If we were looking at damage modifiers in a fighting game, he'd be taking a little bit of a negative hit there. And I look at Victor Magnus, and my faction leader shouldn't have a losing record in singles matches, is really what it comes down to. Victor has to prove his strength. He is going to take the W here, and it is going to be a 5-star match. Yellow Arrow is going to get an overness boost for it, which is pretty funny, and both with the morale bonus. It's a hot feud. The two of them are going to continue, and don't get me wrong. This is not a one-sided match. This is not a one-sided feud. I expect Yellow Arrow to bounce back and figure some things out, but I think to start this, it's important for Victor.
Yeah, you're right. That you're starting the feud. It does make sense for Victor to win. That's my apologies on that one.
Yeah, it's early days, I should say. I don't think it's the start, but it's still early
I will say,
days.
I personally might like to see Yellow Arrow win this feud, but that's all right. That's just me. I think it could be really cool.
Hold on. I didn't queue up any music for this because we don't for the weekly shows, but you can imagine the Gregorian chants as Arsenico comes down to the arena, and it looks like he is taking on a completely different role within the company. He has said, after winning his first match and fighting off any of the factions that were trying to bring him in, he has been crusading and saying, we don't need the factions anymore. Like, these factions, they're an outdated system that keep everyone tied down, right? All this is doing is creating this perpetual state of war and fighting, and nothing ever gets resolved. None of these factions have ever found peace and made a meaningful decision to help, especially the people lower end on the card, right? All the faction leaders, they're second in commands. They get title shots all the time. They're always getting opportunities. But the little people, the day-to-day, they need somebody who's looking out for them. Somebody who believes that they're strong enough on their own, that these people don't need a faction to define them and to define what they're capable of. And ignore the fact that it says cult leader. I'm sure it's fine. Arsenico is preaching a new gospel, a gospel of independence. And we will see what he can do now that he has made a re-debut with his new gimmick.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And it seemed to give him quite the overness boost as well. He was already over, but now people are marking out. I think they love the gimmick, and they can't wait to see what Arsenico can do. And we get right into it as Arsenico in a This Is Our Home match. Brady Killjoy, furious with this kind of understanding. He's a face. He's not a bad guy. He's not trying to give Arsenico you're welcome to feel the way that you feel, but you can't tear down this thing that I love, right? I'm a happily I love my faction here as a member of the Eastern Elite. This has done a lot for me, and I'm not gonna just throw that away because some outsider comes in and says that the system isn't good enough. So this is really taken on a different shape of a This Is Our Home. This isn't just defending the institution from this new up-and-comer trying to, this is a reformer trying to change things, and I need to protect our way of life. And so with this match, who do you think's coming out on top?
Yeah. Sorry, I apologize.
I should point out that Brady Killjoy Ben is a trios belt. It is not a single belt.
Oh, no. I'm tracking. And let's be real here. Arsenico go moon, okay? He took a loss. He went new gimmick package. I don't see a world in which the new charismatic cult leader is dropping this to Brady Killjoy. I don't care who you put here. Yeah, I think Arsenico would be winning this one. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the interesting story boost. Brady Killjoy getting the overness boost as well. This is exactly where we're going, right? It's nice to see Brady Killjoy getting a little bit more overness here. But look, Arsenico, he fought his way into a main event at a major pay-per-view. Sure, did he beat Fishbone? No. But the fact that a guy without a faction made his way into the Sorcerer Supreme belt, I think people are going to look at this and look at how well he has handled anyone but the greatest wrestler in our promotion right now. And I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe he's talking some sense. Maybe he's got some good points. But right now, we have a very different match on our hands. Bryson Pierce versus Riku Inoki. Riku Inoki, of course, a member of Savage Vengeance, one of the best tag teams that the Southern Sentries have to offer. And he's been very vocal, like, look, I've taken some L's here, but I am a member of Savage Vengeance. I am part of this greater tribe, and I am not here to be talked down to by anybody, especially some guy like Bryson Pierce from the Western Watch, who also hasn't gotten a singles win in his career. Like, this guy saying that he's better than me just because his tag snuck away an undeserved win? I'm not having that. I'll fight you wherever. And Bryson Pierce said, okay, meet me in the tundra. So this is a brawl match.
Meet me in the tundra. I love it.
Brawl match. These are two shirtless men in the brutal cold. Thinking like Yukon, Canada, like the kind of people that jump into the polar bear challenge, right? Where people jump into the freezing cold water. Mm-hmm. This is very much that kind of environment. And Bryson, I mean, he obviously, as someone who has just recently made his way a little bit up the card, the two of them almost identical singles repertoires, right? They have the resumes, same stats, same singles record, almost the same age, almost the same popularity. I mean, how do you prove who should come out on top here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think every which way you look at this, these are, you could simulate this and it would be fine, right? It all depends on what you, the promotion head, want to do narratively. I will say that looking at these two, right, you've got Riku Inoki, who is 4'4", 23 years old, 100% everything, right? And then you've got Bryson Pierce, who is more or less the same. It's really hard. I will say that when I get into these decisions, I choose who looks the coolest. And Riku Inoki just looks the coolest, man. Like, no offense to Bryson Pierce. All right. He's got very nice hair. Okay. But Riku Inoki, like, he's just got the sick tribal. Okay. And he's got the sweet mask. All right. And he kind of looks like Predator. So why would I not let him win? Predator always wins, okay? Unless you're facing Arnold, and unfortunately, Bryson Pierce doesn't look like Arnold.
He does not look like Arnold. And you know what? I think for 95% of this match, it looks like Riku is going to win. But the cold of the Western Tundra is a lot for people to deal with. And as the match drags on, as the brawl gets deeper and deeper in, Riku, I think the cold got to him. And Bryson will take advantage of his hubris. He will win the match. He will win the feud between the two of them. Obviously, not a lot of damage done to Riku there, but it's a nice level up on the brawl match. I must have done one before. I didn't think I had. But it's a nice level up there. And Bryson Pierce suplexing him through the apron from the apron through a table outside. A nice holy shit moment. A nice 5-star feud blow off here. And we will see what happens next for Riku. I mean, Savage Vengeance took an L against Unlimited, and now Riku taking an L against Bryson Pierce. They've got a lot of reflection to do. Maybe a humbling moment for Riku and Savage Vengeance.
Indeed.
But we have a first blood match between two heels, both of whom would love to have some wins on their record. I mean, this is... Kagetsu is someone who, the fans really like watching her wrestle, but oh boy, do they not care for her gimmick in the slightest. She's kind of just this assassin type for the Scourge of the Underdark, and it's hard to be seen as a credible assassin when you're 0-7 in that role as an assassin. Meanwhile, Tilly Cooper, the one heel that is currently in the Sky Sentinels, and someone who I think is growing increasingly displeased in that role. She's going on and she's seeing all these Sky Sentinels get their opportunities, get their title matches. And we see Lorena Lucia as the title holder for that belt. And we see what's been happening in the tag division and how we now have, Flying High taking on that belt. It's a lot of her competitors, her faction mates are getting opportunities, are getting meaningful moments to win, and she just seems like she's been left behind. And I think she's tired of it. And I think she's looking to take that aggression out on Kagetsu, who really needs to prove herself in this kind of match. So, who do you think's taking the W here?
I like both of these wrestlers. I personally want to see Kagetsu win. I want to see Kagetsu win. Kagetsu is at 789. Kagetsu is 0-7. Kagetsu is a very talented wrestler. Tilly Cooper, of course, 1-7, basically in the same boat. But I think if you have a good match, then both of these wrestlers end up at the exact same place. This isn't a blow-off, is it?
I don't remember, to be quite
okay. If it were a blow-off, I would want to see Tilly Cooper win. But given that I'm hoping it's not a blow-off, I want to see Kagetsu win this time. Get her a win in this feud, and push her to where they're now basically both equal. I think Tilly Cooper won't lose much. She might even benefit if the match is good and hype. And then then you set it up for whoever to win this that you want. Without the other person, with both people having benefited. And so for that reason, I'd like to see Kagetsu get the dub.
See, I understand what you're saying, but here's the thing. I've got plans for Tilly, and she needs to be higher on the card for that.
Okay, fair enough.
I have plans for Kagetsu, anyway? And Kagetsu needs to follow a little bit for that.
Oh, okay, got it.
So Tilly's gonna get a win. It's a negative modifier. Stop and start action.
This is what you get for not listening to me. Okay.
For the record, it was a blow off, so it was the thing that you said would be the one way to justify it.
All right.
But the boost is negligible, I think, due to a pretty mediocre result. And Kagetsu, it's not a huge loss, but certainly an overness hit and a morale hit. I think she has to really do some self-examination. I think she needs to find her place in this company. The First Blood decreasing the effect of the match while leveling up the gimmick match is just a little bit funny. But I guess I'll appreciate the cost decrease in the long run. But man, oh man, I love the holy shit moment. I love seeing Tilly Cooper get rewarded for that, but I really wish that match hadn't been as disappointing as it ended up being. But here's the thing. We now get into a very fascinating power dynamic here. And I know that this says that there was an attack, but let's be very clear here. This is not an attack against El Rey Loco, a guy who is injured and who is not here on this stage. The text here is wrong. Ignore the text. Here's what's happening. You look at Prince Pretty Pink. And Prince Pretty Pink has done a very good job recently. He is the Flame Warlock. He has proven himself as a legitimate title holder and true contender within this company. And El Rey Loco is injured and has been injured since the first month of this competition. He was a very early injury. And so this faction has essentially been leaderless, right? They haven't had the kind of man at the helm the way all of these other factions do. And so, Prince Pretty Pink, he comes out and it's like, with a heavy heart, I need to take this faction. I need to be here and be present and take what is necessary for the Western Watch to hit their full potential. Because without me as a leader, without a strong leader like myself, the Western Watch are going to fall adrift. I need to take this on. I reluctantly accept my position as the leader of this faction. And El Rey Loco, you're going to have to deal with that. El Rey Loco has been removed from the Western Watch, and there is a leader revenge feud when he comes back. That all very true and very much the goal. Jay Xavier happening to get over for this, also fine. No problem with that whatsoever. But here's the thing, Xander. You make a decision like that, and you risk alienating some people, especially some people who were listening very closely to what Arsenica was saying earlier tonight. And Monty Hendricks, Ryu Otake, Johnny Scott, and Jay Xavier have all said, we're done. We cannot follow you on this. El Rey Loco may be the Mad King, but he is our king. And if you cannot respect that, if you cannot appreciate everything he's done just because he's been away for a few months, we're gone. And so 4 people have left the Western Watch. The popularity of the Western Watch takes a huge hit. What do you mean? What? I didn't remove a leader.
Wait.
What the fuck is that talking? Oh, sorry. Because it removed the leader in the last segment. I got a hot member, but then removing these members, I mean, the Western Watch took a 240.
Oh my God! It's down to 1. It's down to rank 1. It's down to rank 1.
Each of those people were 60 points of reputation.
That's.
I mean, I know they're good, right? Like they were all.
Yeah. Well, they were that good, man.
But like, holy shit. I like that. That's a lot. But
that is a lot.
You know what? From a narrative perspective, fuck it.
Yeah.
The Western Watch are in shambles. Prince Pretty Pink made his power play. He did it because he believed it was right, or so he says. But I mean, the results speak for themselves. That the Western Watch in a very precarious position. And we will see what happens as the rest of the faction can only look on as they walk away.
Yeah.
And Prince Pretty Pink, seeing this in disbelief, now has to rally himself to defend the Flame Warlock Championship against La Bestia del Infierno. I mean, he's clearly not in the right headspace for this. I mean, he did what he felt was necessary, and sometimes leaders have to make tough calls. But La Bestia del Infierno, he's going to poke and prod at every bit of that. As the former Flame Warlock, he believes this title is his to win and win again. And Prince Pretty Pink, you gotta wonder, is he in the headspace? Can he do what needs to be done and defend his title here?
Yes, he can. Prince Pretty Pink wins.
I mean, you're right, but I want you couldn't headbang it for a moment. I mean, of course he does, and of course it's a 5 1/4 star match. I'm not taking away the title. Like, he needs to stand strong. He needs to show that the Western Watch is still not to be fucked with. He is not going to let a few people leaving stop him from being the leader he believes he is. And so that is going to be a nice I Quit match. It is going to be, it doesn't look like any holy shit moments or anything, but a hot match is still very nice to have. The problem I'm recognizing, I don't think the Western Watch gain any benefit from a successful title defense. I actually am going to learn a lot about how the faction system works and what it takes to earn some points, because I wasn't expecting to drop to fucking 1. But I do know that Prince Pretty Pink, he won. But at what cost, Xander? At what cost?
Yeah, at what cost, man? At what cost is right.
So what do you think of the new era of magically enhanced wrestling?
I love it. I think you're taking some hits right now, but I will even argue relative to some of the hits you took before, this is better. I think we're all going to learn a lot from watching your promotion about how certain faction stuff works, about how certain defenses and all that, and I'm really excited. But honestly, I think the narrative stuff you're building here is something a couple of us have been kind of moving toward in some of these faction civil war things. And you're taking the leap first. You're making the move, and it's gonna put magically enhanced wrestling, further up in that storytelling echelon. That I would again argue, just in all fairness, that Eduardo and Walter have been kind of mastering, and leading you and I to really reevaluate how we want to do our narrative building.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah,
look, we got some
yeah,
great story from Walter, of course, with the Eternum short split. I'm gonna learn that it's short. I got the CZ because Walter's
yeah,
my co-host. I know how to pronounce Fedchuk. I figured it out. The A
yeah.
being an O in the pronunciation is gonna take me some time. I'm just gonna have to get used to it. I literally have like a name in my notes. I have the pronunciation guide. I will get
Yeah.
there. But yeah, look, we've got incredible stories from him with that Eternum split. And we have some incredible stories coming at us tonight from the Campeonato de Luchasaur. So let's just jump in and take on what is all, a feud we've seen go back and forth for a while now between Ryuji Sakota and Max Campbell. We haven't talked about this as much, right? But like, these were two wrestlers in Ryuji and Max who trained together at one point, right? Now training under rival mentors that all have their own kind of schools of thought, schools of fighting, right? Ryuji Sakota with El Tigre de Leon comes from the school of the crab. The resilience of the crab and the ability to maneuver accordingly, very much a huge part of his fighting style. Whereas Max Campbell and El Arcangel de Fuego, unsurprisingly, from the school of the Phoenix. Fiery attacks and the ability to get back up no matter what. A huge part of the principles that they are now training under. So you have these two opposing schools of thought on how to fight and how to approach these kinds of matches between two people who at one point had a great deal of respect for each other, led by two managers who have a great deal of resentment for each other, perhaps their own histories to be unpacked at some time. But between these two incredible talents, both 4-4 wrestlers with very similar records, each of them has gotten at least one win in this feud so far. Who do you think wins the street fight match?
Yeah, the a big street fight, of course, Ryuji and Max. I can you hover over Max one more time?
I can.
Yeah, I want to see Ryuji take it here. I'm gonna be honest. I want to see Ryuji take it here. I think Ryuji, I know Max is a little bit lower on the morale side, but Ryuji's upside here is just a bit higher. The 4-4, he is the face. A big win here not only could benefit Max Campbell because it does. I'm not going to say this definitively, but I swear I feel like there's a slight imbalance when a face wins and the match goes hot. Everyone benefits a little bit more often than when the heel wins. Okay. I that might just be, complete anecdotal bias. But I swear it's what has happened. And so that's why my vote is going for Ryuji Sakota here.
I like that theory.
In the greatest wrestler feud.
I can't tell you statistically whether you're right or not. What I can say is Eduardo's sure hoping so because he agrees with you completely. That is a Ryuji Sakota win. Not exactly.
Not what we wanted to see in terms of the both getting the dubs, but yeah.
Unfortunate. These are two incredible performers. A street fight match, the decrease there, despite it being gold prestige. This is why, and Journey of Wrestling, I appreciate there's always got to be some randomness involved. I understand. But you're really not helping me on my rules explanation of mechanics because I keep telling Eduardo things like when you level up, it'll be more consistent. You'll get better results on average. And this fucking shit happens. He's like, I don't think it seems to matter. And I can't refute it because what the fuck? What am I supposed to say? Yeah, this should have been higher. I don't get why he's getting a match decrease for a goal.
Well, really, it's your fault for saying things. Did you think about not saying things?
I should stop saying things.
Mm-hmm. That's the answer.
That's a lot of kids told me that when I was in high school. I had never learned that lesson. It would appear. God damn. Okay, well, you know what? At least this has got to be feeling good. Hey, Lee, the winner of the Grand Invitational, lifting the trophy high for everyone to see. Damn proud of this trophy, as she should be, and she'll be carrying it to the ring for some time. It's a nice overness, morale and popularity hit for her. She's not wrestling because, oh God, if y'all saw the amount of fatigue that she took from getting all the way to the finals, you would know there is no reason to make her wrestle again. But man, oh man, she deserves to be proud of this one, and it's great to see Haley do so successful. But we move on to a tag match between Omerta and Psycho Circus. This is one of those feuds that's been going on in the background for a while now. Um, you know, ultimately, these are just two tag teams, two factions that do not get along, right? And to be fair to Omerta, right, Sigmund Coolidge and Quincy McKenzie, I also wouldn't like having to wrestle with mad clowns, right? Mad and Psycho are literally named Mad and
Yeah.
Psycho and wearing fucking horror masks. That's terrifying. Um, I feel like it's the kind of thing that got it. I needed to check a thing. I'm sure it has nothing to do with how this match will play out. I think for Psycho Circus, they're like, look, we're just being us. Why so serious? Why so afraid? We're just like you. And I'm just like, no, we are nothing like you. Fuck off.
Mm.
And so they have this tag elimination match. So Xander, looking at these two competitors, both of them very similar on the popularity side of things, who do you think's coming out on top?
Psycho Circus.
Psycho Circus. You know what? I will say this match, and I'm not clicking the button because I promised Eduardo that I would check to see if doing so would push it over the feud threshold to not fuck this up for him. And I did check, and we're not fucking this up for him. But in the lore of this world, right? Psycho Circus are part of a faction, the Carnival of Madness, I believe. And Omerta, they're about to get the win when suddenly Jason Styles' music, the faction leader, comes on, and they, look up. They're waiting to see him come and interfere with this match, and that one moment of hesitation allows Psycho Circus to secure the win. Jason Styles, nowhere to be seen. No idea why that music played. But Omerta are going to be furious that they were bamboozled this way.
Bamboozled!
As Psycho Circus, though, getting a huge overness boost that they definitely needed. That 7% is going to go a long way. And both sides getting a morale and popularity boost. That's what we like to see from an elimination match like this. So,
listen, all I'm saying, okay, is Psycho Circus. All right.
Just to say, that's all I hear when I hear Psycho Circus. It's just
Yep.
Fantastic. I'm glad we're on the same page. Speaking of people, the same page here. I mean, Suki Akiyama versus Violetta is a feud that I love as much as Eduardo has recently. I mean, look, Violetta at one point was the Campeonato Cuyin Championship. She was undefeated, 3-0, did a fantastic job. And she lost. She lost that belt. And since then, she has been feuding with Suki Akiyama. And Suki, she is an incredible performer in her own right. This 22-year-old heel, very much on the rise in the same way that Violetta was. But ever since Violetta lost that title, she has just appeared distracted. She looks lost. She's got this monkey on her back. And as a result, she's on a 4-match loss streak. She is desperate to prove that Suki does not have her number, that this is not going to happen the same way again. She is still the wrestler that won that championship, God damn it. But Suki would love to take advantage of that desperation in this match. Who do you think's going to take it?
Suki Akiyama.
Yeah, I got bad news for you, Violetta. Suki does have your number, at least for now. And it's going to lead to a 4 3/4 star match. A nice overness boost for Suki. Violetta taking a little bit of a hit. Nothing she can't handle at 100 and 100. But at least this street fight went well. But yeah, Violetta, I mean, clearly shaken. That's 5 losses in a row for the former champion. And you just have to wonder what it's going to take for her to turn this around. But we move on to Shinji Yano versus Kenji Ryota. I mean, these two go way back. They were tag partners back in their late 20s. But they're now in their 40s, trying to prove they've still got it. The rivalry that has built since that tag team went poorly so many years ago. After Shinji left the school of the, I believe, school of sorry, let me make sure I have this lore right before I say the thing. Yeah, Shinji left the school of the crab. He was not willing to keep training under El Tigre de Neon. And I don't think that Shinji is ever, I don't think Kenji's ever forgiven him for that. It is a tough 1v1 feud here. They have yet to actually wrestle one-on-one together. They've been in matches, with other people. They've both taken the multi-man L's, as we have come to know. But to that end, one of them needs to take a win here. Who do you think steps up?
I do believe that the step up is coming from Kenji Ryota. All right. I like both of these wrestlers. They're both very talented guys that are on the lower end of the card, right? Obviously Shinji a little bit higher, but Kenji Ryota, he's got El Tigre de Leon backing him, and he hasn't gotten a win yet, right? Like, he hasn't gotten a win yet. And at some point, you got to wonder what the purpose of this manager in El Tigre de Leon is if he can't even help a guy like Kenji get a single dub. And for the reason that I feel like it reflects so poorly on the trainer, similarly in my promotion, right? The Lethals, right? I think of the Lethals, and it's like, these guys can't get wins, but they've got Asahi King. You got to at some point give them a win to demonstrate that these managers, these trainers have some kind of say in what these, wrestlers are doing. Otherwise, you got a guy like El Tigre who's just there. Again, I like Shinji's great, but I'd rather take Kenji here, not just because, of the reasons I outlined, even though he's a little bit older, but also because he is the 4-3, right? You got Shinji who's a 3-4 and is a year older, which I missed, actually. I thought it said 32. That's 42. Yeah. But yeah, so again, I give it to Kenji here. He's got maybe one more year in him than Shinji does. And he's got El Tigre. And on top of that, he's got the better stats, in terms of work charisma flexibility. So I give it to Kenji.
You give it to Kenji. But, El Tigre de Neon, he got a win earlier for Sakota, the School of the Crab. I think there he felt very good about that. But here's the thing. Shinji trained under, in this same school at one point in time. So he knows all of Kenji's tricks. And Kenji does not know the things that Shinji has learned since leaving. And so Shinji gets the win. And it's a nice 4-star match. Very solid. No holy shit moments yet tonight for Eduardo. But, I think ultimately it just comes down to, Kenji's a 620 popularity 41-year-old. Like, what is his upside ultimately with having him climb the card too much?
What that's the same thing with what?
He could at least become a main eventer. He's in range. Kenji's not in range.
Kenji is in range. You give him one big match, that's an 80-point popularity boost.
I think, okay. Well, you'll have to take that up with Eduardo, I guess. I'm
just saying, the reasons you just outlined for why Shinji moves up, at that point, they're both the same. They're both the same. It's a 70-point difference. 80-point difference.
85-point difference at the start. I don't know. I guess we'll have to, you'll have to ask Eduardo for his full reasoning. I personally, I think I would make a similar move for that practical reason. I think it may be just for lore reason, right? Like I said,
lore reasons make sense, but those weren't outlined here. Okay,
I said the School of the Crab. I started with the School of the Crab.
Me seeing a 3-4 get moved up instead of a 4-3 makes me sad. Period.
Wow.
End of story.
You know what'll make you happy though is La Sagrada Familia. You just talked about right the importance of taking these wrestlers who are struggling and being like, look, we can take care of you. We can give you the tools you need to be successful. And I think La Sagrada Familia have looked at Keegan Cohen and La Fantasma, both of whom are members of Phantom Troop, and they've said, you know what? Join the family. We'll take care of you. We'll teach you what it takes to be champions. And here we go. I think a huge boost from a popularity and overness standpoint. It's a hot segment. The fans are invested, and adding those members only going to boost them further up the card.
Good stuff. I like it. That I like. I'm still mad about the last thing, but that's fine.
Well,
we disagree, and that's okay. You guys are welcome to be wrong. Including Eduardo, who's wrong about his own card and his own narrative push. And that's fine.
Fascinating. Well, we move on.
Just kidding.
We've got a contract match because at one step closer, Amatralladora Anderson won the title. Won a shot at a title at Starlight. He won his contract, and he has been excited for it. But here's the thing, Ed. It's like, you know what? I think there was some bullshit involved in that. I think you won on a technicality. I saw the shady stuff you're into, the machine gun that you are. You pulled some questionable tricks in that Battle Royale match. Or I believe it might have been an elimination. Whatever one step closer is. The important thing is you pulled some shady tricks, and I don't believe you've earned that contract. I deserve that contract. And Amatraladora's very much not. I mean, I have it, so I clearly earned it. That's how that works. If I didn't earn it, it wouldn't be in my hands right now.
Exactly.
Whatever I did or did not do to get an advantage to win that match doesn't seem to be as relevant as the thing in my hand.
Correct.
So Ed Thompson, I think Eduardo hearing that's like, look, we can settle this. Head to the ring. Here's a street fight. Go take your trash can, Ed, and your hockey stick, Amatralladora, and improve it. And that's the match we have in front of us tonight. So, who do you think's taking it?
Amatralladora.
Yeah, he's maintaining it. I mean, and a great match, a hot match between these two, I believe, which is amazing because the feud, I think, just started. Because That's My Shot, which is only unlocked once the contract is in. Now, they're going to have to put in a lot of work in a little bit of time because this contract match is for a title match at the next pay-per-view. But Amatralladora with a very strong start and proving that he does deserve this spot, much to Ed Thompson's chagrin. But, maybe, giving a heel a street fight was a mistake. Maybe Ed Thompson's going to have to try to find another angle if he wants to take that contract. But we move on to the Campeonato Cuyan Championship. Layla Abalos and Amber Manning in a ladder match. Now, you need to explain who Layla Abalos is, right? If you're watching this video, you know she is too pretty to lose. That has been her thing from the very beginning. She's not fussed about what the rest of the world thinks of her because she knows that she's the prettiest one out there and thus the most talented woman in this promotion. But Amber, desperate for a rematch. She is that kind of the hardworking face, right? She just wants to prove herself. She wants to work harder than everybody else. And as long as she keeps putting in the effort, she's going to make it one day. And she just wants another opportunity. Just keep giving me chances, boss. I'm going to make it work. I promise you, I will put in the work it takes to become a champion contender. And Layla goes, yeah, fuck it. You're not a threat. I'm not scared of you. I've beaten you before. I'll beat you again if that's what you really want, because I'm too pretty to lose. So, who's winning the title?
Yes, the title is staying with Layla Abalos.
Yeah,
Amber Manning is great, but Layla is just too good right now. She's at that face of the company status. She's 2 months out of 6. She's not dropping it on a weekly, okay? Amber, I'm sure, is going to put up a good match, but Layla is just too good. I'm a big fan of Layla Abalos.
Layla Abalos, indeed. It's a nice match here. The fans not as enthralled, perhaps. I'm going to guess. Wait, it actually gave a ladder increase. That's fascinating. Because you would think with a ladder match, the kind of points that typically leads you to invest, getting an increase for 4.25 star, something must have gotten weird in how that match shook out. That's a real low roll, unfortunately. But the feud is hot now. The odds of them having hot matches in the future just increased substantially. And we did miss earlier on a holy shit moment in that Amatralladora Anderson versus Ed Thompson match, refusing to give up, crawling around 2 minutes in Ed Thompson's submission was a big play. But yeah, I honestly, that feels a little bit like a low roll to me. But Layla's keeping the title, and they're setting up a hot feud to come. So we will see more from these two competitors, to be certain.
Love it.
But we close with my favorite match of the night.
Ooh,
see,
spicy.
It's a new championship because the Nova Championship, Xander, is based on one core principle, which is the teddy bear on the pole match has been one of the most signature events that the Campeonato de Luchasaur has to offer. We've seen every single competitor in this match has competed in a teddy bear on a pole match. Most of them have won a teddy bear on a pole match in the past. And all of them believe that this new belt, dedicated specifically to teddy bear on a pole matches, it is a belt that only exists for teddy bear on a pole matches, is theirs. This is a way for new feuds and upper mid-carders to prove themselves. And because it's for the title belt, it's no surprise that it is a golden teddy bear on a pole match. And we've got quite the competitors for it. Gabriel Rivera, he's 0-6, but a 784 popularity, would love to start climbing. Chakal Pro, an incredible 4-4 heel. A couple losses recently, but 864 popularity, very much beloved by the Flans. Ty Flaw lost his feud to Nightmare.
I also love the Flans. Sorry.
The Flans? Yeah, I love the Flans. I love the fans. Look, everyone watching this can acknowledge I have been tongue-tied all morning, and I'm just choosing to ignore that fact.
That's fine.
Ty Flaw just lost his feud with Nightmare Blue, but certainly still flawless, still a 4-4 face with a bright future. Brady Velasquez, the dawn of Lucha Libre, a 19-year-old heel, 4-3, would love some more wins under his belt. Eagle, the hardcore animal, a 756 popularity. He is a 3-3 while over with the fans. So someone who's definitely taking advantage of the boost of just the fans' energy feeding off of them, even as he is yet to get a win in his own right. James Parker, the fearless superhero, 0-7, unfortunately, but still very popular with the fans, still over and would love to be a main eventer. Hijiro Boldo, very much in the range to become a main eventer and to potentially get over with a good win. And XT Gunn, I love the name XT Gunn. He's a 4-4 heel. I would say underutilized so far with that 0-4 record, especially given with a popularity boost. He could be something pretty powerful. We've given the full rundown, which for a title match I feel is just the right thing to do. But given that library here, who do you think's grabbing the golden teddy bear tonight?
Yeah, given that library, this is rough for me. It really is, because anytime I see Chakal Pro, I want to give it to Chakal Pro. It's just Chakal Pro deserves so many big things, and I would love to see him get it. I also like XT Gunn. If you hover over XT Gunn, I know he's 0-4, but he's a 4-4. His overness is close to going under 700 popularity. I feel like giving him this could be massive for his career. Instantly push him to that main eventer status and start giving him some dubs that allow you to utilize him a little more functionally. So, and listen, Brady Velasquez has been a part of a lot of big matches. So I know Eduardo's got plans for that guy, 19-year-old, 4-3. But again, if you're making me choose right here who I want to see most, either you move Chakal Pro to the moon or you get XT Gunn with a single win near that main event status and start pushing him up the card using this as the vehicle for that.
Yeah, see, I would understand Chakal Pro because he's the most popular wrestler on this card. I would understand XT Gunn because I think he has the highest potential. I would even understand Hijiro Boldo and Gabriel Rivera, both of whom could become main eventers with a big win and certainly would benefit from the overness boost that comes from being a title contender. And even Brady Velasquez, right? The 19-year-old phenom.
If you tell me it's none of the people you just listed, I'm going to throw something at Eduardo when I see him next.
It's none of the people that I just listed.
Oh, my God!
It is indeed. And I say this with all the love in the world, Eduardo, because you run a great promotion, and I'm not here to say that you're wrong. He picked the one person I would have never picked. Eagle, the 3-3, is our new champion.
Okay, interesting. Eduardo, I've got words for you.
The crowd doesn't seem to be as into it, unfortunately. I mean, some of that is the nature of pole matches. Gabriel Rivera losing 5 overness feels bad. Brady Velasquez losing 5 overness is also pretty rough. I don't know exactly how we got there. Just a loss gimmick for both of them. The pole match definitely decreased things. We did see a nice feud start between Brady and Ty Flaw and between James Parker and Eagle. So we're going to see James Parker, I'm sure, fight for that belt sooner rather than later. It's a nice start to the belt, and certainly I think we will see how far it can go. Pole match is just 4 experience away from leveling up to a gold quality. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what Eduardo has in mind for Eagle. I don't think any one of us looking at that would have thought that that's the way it was going, and we'll have to see what that means. But the golden teddy bear is his, and Eagle will be hugging it dearly tonight. So good for him.
Yeah. Hey, listen, good for Eagle, but also Eduardo, why? Why, Eduardo, why? Why? Why have you done this? Why have you done this to me personally? Chakal Pro's in that match, and again, you give it to anybody else, and Chakal and me and Chakal are chilling. I'm standing there with him, like, hey man, you deserve all the things in the world in this promotion. Tonight just wasn't your night. I can say that, but I cannot look him in the eye after I go see him following this, okay? Because I'm obviously in the fan stands watching this promotion secretly with a hood over my head so no one knows who I am. And I have to go to him and be like, you got robbed. Not only did you get robbed, all of the people that I would have said it was okay for you to get instead of you got robbed. All of y'all got robbed. The guy running this promotion is a madman. And that's what I'd have to do now. So,
Wow. The call out from Glory of Legends towards the Campeonato de Luchasaur. Perhaps there's a rivalry.
When Chakal Pro is ready to get signed away from that promotion, and Walter always makes those jokes. I know who I'm signing, okay? I know when he leaves, I know who I'm signing.
Well, you know who you're going to sign. You also know that you've got quite a card ahead of us. What can fans expect as we're about to head in here?
All right, so what can fans expect? They can expect big things, huge things, massive things. We got some feud blow-offs coming in, all right? We have a continuation of our new big faction feud. Now, I say big, it's just the new faction feud because it's between, all right, Juge and Brigantia. But it's something that you guys have seen. It's getting built up. There are big things coming. You got Phil and Deputy Newland, which is a hot feud that has been going on for months. Also double check that because I'm pretty sure this is the blow off.
I was gonna say because you said blow off, and I remember this something. And it didn't have
it's getting blown off.
The game was a fucking bully.
Thank you for making sure that was the case.
As soon as you said it, I was like, something isn't adding up here. Thanks, game. You're doing great.
Can you just take a moment and double check the other ones at the bottom of the card? Because
sure. I can do that.
Yeah. I don't think anything in the other one, but I appreciate this because that one was 100%. We clicked it too, so should be okay.
It's fine.
All right. Then we should be okay. We should be okay. Yeah.
But
we should be okay then. All right, great. Thank you for double checking that one.
Look, man, I'm a helper, and I've always said that.
Yeah, I was like, because I know as I was saying it, I was like, I don't see the modifier. Okay, great. So now that we got that squared away, everybody, sometimes the game doesn't like us blowing things off when we want to. And you got to double check it. Just a note. That being said, again, we've got Phil and Deputy Newland, a feud that has been hot for a hot minute. Basically, since this promotion started, these two have been feuding. Okay, and it has just been so hype. It's been used in weeklies. It's been used in pay-per-views. And Deputy Newland, a guy that has genuinely been a joke, a comedian within this promotion, has benefited enormously. The fact that he has been up here with Phil Hangtime for this long demonstrates the quality of this match and the fact that, it's arguably his best performance in his entire 40-year career. Now, that being said, Phil's looking to put him in a casket today, so watch out for that match. All right, you got the tag team belt on the line. between Castle Crashers and Oda's Revenge. You've got For the People versus Juge. Big match, big stuff happening. All right. And then a little bit below that, you've got some matches here that you've seen, you love, you know. You've got the special referee match, like I said, featuring Juge Brigantia and, of course, one of the members of Burn It All Down. And a little bit below that, some stuff that we'll get into in just a minute here, because we can get started, Chase. We can get started right now. We don't need to wait any longer. Let's get it going.
Let's get it going, indeed. We move on first. A feud package between Paisley Overholt and Christian Quinn. You know, a nice level up for this segment item. And
Woo!
I mean, I think we're just gonna jump into the match. So let's just see. They're in an Arby's parking lot brawling it up. I believe this is the first brawl match for your
This
promotion.
is the first brawl match for the promotion. And let's be real. Christian Quinn has been making a name for himself, all right? He got a really important win not too long ago. He was in 2 really high-profile matches that he would have never been considered for before. So despite losing, pulled him up, made him a big one, especially the last one. He was very, very close to getting the win in the big match that happened at the pay-per-view. He was just unable to pull it out. But as you guys can see, that's a 644 with 77% overness. This guy was a little bit below 600 when he got started. So the fact that he's making these kind of moves, at this point in his career is perfect. This is what he wants to be doing. And he's up against Paisley Overholt, someone who at the lower end of the card has been making a name for herself. She is a 3-3. She's extremely talented, okay? And she's been part of a lot of big matches for the women. Now, that being said, they've had this intergender feud going on because they are both essentially folks that want to find themselves getting moved up into that upper mid card consistently, the upper mid card, I should say. And Paisley, despite being in big matches, she's 0-7. She hasn't been able to find her footing with a win yet. However, that's because very often she's in matches with women that are 800 popularity, 900 popularity, 750 popularity. So she's, had the cards stacked against her. In terms of the lower end, she's one of the most talented wrestlers. And she's here trying to prove it against Christian Quinn.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite the match. I will say, if I'm going into the predictions here, and obviously it's a little bit disingenuous given that I know what the answer is, but I think the fans just saw how much shit you talked about Eagle for the exact same 3-3 stats that we're
just
seeing.
Press
on
the
Paisley.
button, Chase.
Yeah,
just press the button. Just press the button.
There you go. 4.5 star match here. Some cool spots. Paisley takes a little bit of a hit, but nothing she can't handle. Meanwhile, you get a holy shit moment.
And a ton of experience for that first brawl match, which we love.
Yes, absolutely, positively. Nice to see for Christian Quinn. He's definitely having his moment here. And as a 28-year-old face, I mean, it's going to be a while before he can turn into a main eventer, but he is on the way. And I think a match like this shows.
Don't bet on that. That's all I'm going to say is don't bet on that.
Don't. Okay. Maybe I should not be hyped for Christian Quinn. I will.
No, I meant don't bet that it's going to be a while before he's a main eventer.
Ooh, okay. 144 popularity to go is nothing to fuck with, but we will see how quickly he can climb the bald head of brutality.
Do you remember Vince Rivera? That's all I'm saying.
That's all you're saying. Well, we've got a return package here. Just reminding people that Skullshot does indeed exist and should not be forgotten just because he's injured.
Yep.
We all wish
he will be back, folks. One of my favorite. I love Skullshot's aesthetics. I think he looks awesome. And so I can't wait to get him back. It'll be a little while, but he'll be back.
We all do, and we all wish him a speedy recovery here at the Rough Drafts Competes. We want everybody to be performing at their best, and it's no surprise here that we've got quite a match ahead that of 3 people also trying to prove that they are the best. Matt Robinson, of course, a member of the champion Triple Glory belt. But how did this specific special referee match with Phil Hangtime come to be?
Listen, Blue Arrow and Matt Robinson have been going at it, okay? They are, they are in the 3-way feud. They're in tag feud. They're in every kind of feud you can imagine right now. Juge and Brigantia, right? Those are 2 huge representatives for those respective promotions. And they're going at each other. All right. They're going at each other. They're going at each other hard. All right. Both of these guys, are doing that. Now, that being said, Black Bull heard that this was happening and saw an opportunity for Burn It All Down to come in here and be represented. And not just that, but to come in and get in the middle of a feud, make it about Burn It All Down, which naturally that's what they do. They want to make everything about themselves. They want everyone to know that they're there, whether you're in Conquest or Death, whether you're in For the People, whether you're on a lower end card of Burn It All Down. Burn It All Down wants everything to be about Burn It All Down, okay? Because that's just their goal, is to burn it all down. And, I can't say it more without it hurting my tongue, all right? But at the end of the day, this is really a feud between Matt Robinson and Blue Arrow, and Black Bull's essentially showing up to put the hurt on whoever he can, to break some legs, throw some haymakers, clothesline someone out of the ring. He's looking to do whatever he can to make this about them.
Absolutely. I look at this. I mean, obviously, Black Bull, an incredible performer and someone who I think would win this match if Phil Hangtime wasn't here.
Correct. That is the correct assessment. Listen, at the end of the day, no matter what Phil says, you think you're going to get a win here, my guy? No shot. I will make sure that this is a fair match between Matt Robinson and Blue Arrow. And by that, I mean, Black Bull, you're not considered. Even if Black Bull's coming in for the pin, Phil Hangtime might throw a kick to the ribs here and say, "Oh, I tripped." Something comes up, because Phil, no matter what, will not let Black Bull win here. And that's really why he showed up and asked to make this a special referee match. And when you're a Hangtime, you get to make requests like those.
Absolutely. But that does mean that we've got two people left to choose from. Who ended up getting the win?
You tell me, Chase, who ended up getting the win?
Oh, you picked Blue Arrow, my friend.
Okay, that's great. That's who I wanted.
Yeah, you fucking did. Look at that, 5 1/4 star, massive overness, and
overness, baby, let's go.
I mean, you do love to see that. It's a hot,
and even Black Bull was happy about it, which is great.
Yeah, Blue Arrow really starting to get over with the fans. Certainly a main eventer now, which I think no one will be surprised by. Just a great match all around.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, Phil Hangtime accomplished his goal of making sure the Black Bull does not win, but now he has his own match to win, a casket match against Deputy Newland, which I don't think any of the promotions have done a casket match yet.
I believe I'm the first. That Glory of Legends is the first ones to do this. And, this is Phil Hangtime, basically ending Deputy Newland's career in his mind. He has been the one to build Deputy Newland up. Deputy Newland was a guy that was nowhere near close to over when this feud started. Deputy Newland was, around the 700 popularity margin. And you can see Deputy Newland, I believe, has gotten one win in his entire time here with the promotion. And that win was just to put him and Phil in the same believable tier as they had gotten kind of far apart after Phil's last win. But that being said, Phil does appreciate that he himself started in that 700 margin, maybe 800 on the dot, and is now one of the preeminent faces of the company as a Hangtime. And he believed firmly that this match should be something to close out one of our most hype feuds. And so he came and asked personally, give me something exciting. Give me something that is massive. There's no belt on the line here, but I want something that will be remembered forever within this promotion. And we said, you know what? We've got something for you, Phil. We've got a casket match. You want to put Deputy Newland in the dirt? Put him in the coffin, the casket first, and then bury him, okay? And Deputy Newland is saying, listen, I know I'm lower. I know I'm less favored. I know I'm older, all right? But the fans are starting to love me, okay? And just because Phil is who Phil is doesn't mean he gets to win this, especially now that he's not holding the belt, all right? Deputy Newland is essentially saying, I got one more shot, and tonight's the night. Tonight's the night that I make the case for myself being the main eventer, for myself being a push here in the waning hours of my career, and I don't want to go out like this.
Yeah, he might not want to go out like this, but, look, in another world, I'm looking at a 791 popularity. I'm seeing 73 overness, and I'm saying, man, what a huge push it would give Deputy Newland to win this match. What a huge moment it would be for him. Could potentially get him over with a big enough push. But he's 41 years old and he's a cop, and it's Phil Hangtime. So Phil Hangtime's winning this match.
Correct.
Yeah.
I will say that this also does something. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
How does that happen?
That's a blow off too. Also,
it's almost
very funny that this was a main event push for Phil Hangtime, who is now the face of the company. Says a lot about where Phil was when this feud first started. But wow. Casket match decreased the effect. And I think, wow.
I still don't understand how we get to 3 3/4 there, but okay, sure. Got it.
We've seen a couple low-scored matches this week, but
for something that had that much behind it, I don't think we have. But
Eduardo had
okay.
one. Eduardo had, it was the Walter had a match that was like 3 1/4. We couldn't figure out the moral of the story is
it's fine.
You got a little hurt, and I don't care for it on your behalf.
It's fine. It's not the main event, so it's okay.
It's not the main event. The main event is Castle Crashers versus Oda's Revenge in a tag belt elimination match.
Theo, dude, you have never had 3 packages that went over 4 stars. This is a first for Theo Walters, okay? So everyone, slow round of applause. Theo gets to eat inside tonight. He's not eating in the dumpster. Theo's getting brought inside. I might even give him a real meal instead of the doggy kibble I keep for him.
Congratulations to him for that. It's well earned. And you know what? I think he just heard if I do well this week, I get a new production facility, and that seems real nice.
He did hear that. I think he did hear that.
So he might have a very nice new office. Worth putting in the extra work for. But speaking of putting in the work, I mean, these tag teams are both some incredible workers. So tell us what's the narrative heading into this match?
Yeah, I mean, Castle Crashers and Oda's Revenge have been going at it for a little while now. Oda's Revenge, of course, are, Yuji Onishi and Kaiman Nomura are the 2 guys. That's DJ and Braden, of course. But getting into Yuji and Kaiman first. These guys built Juge from the ground up. All right, they are the new faction coming in here. And they have been the ones pushing Castle Crashers with the sort of exit from tag teaming from both of the Hang Time, sets of brothers right now who are really going at those individual feuds and pushing those individual narratives. Oda's Revenge said, hey, listen, Castle Crashers are good, but they're not much better than us. All right. And even though we're the newer tag, in Oda's Revenge, we're not that new. We've been around for a minute. And especially with our faction behind us now, we have a real opportunity to rip this belt off of the Castle Brothers. Meanwhile, the Castle Crashers said, hey, listen, we haven't had this belt long enough. This is our time to reign. We are the preeminent tag team in this organization now that we were able to beat Hang Time Heresy. And they know that at some point they're going to have to go against Phil and Johnny, right? At some point that tag, the Hang Time Empire, is going to come back and make a showing that isn't just about putting their brothers in their place. But it's not today. And the Castle Crashers say, we need to work, we need to improve, and the best way for us to do that is to go against the next best tag team. Someone wants our belt, they're good. They do have respect for Oda's Revenge, but they know they're better right now in their mind. And they say, the only way we get better is putting everybody else in their place so that when the Hang Times do return, we're ready to go.
Absolutely. And look, if Oda's Revenge were a little bit lower on the card or maybe weren't quite as over, I would say there's a big case for giving them the title at this moment in time. But at this point, they're doing fine. They can take a loss. Castle Crashers need to keep climbing up the card to make that eventual Hang Time feud that much more meaningful. I imagine you gave it to the Castle Crashers. Am I correct?
Castle Crashers are taking it right now, but I will say before this feud is over, do not be surprised if Oda's Revenge get an upset, all right? Listen, Castle Crashers have made clear what their goal is, but Oda's Revenge are not to be forgotten. They're not to be trifled with, okay?
That's true. And, look, you can't trifle with a holy shit moment like that, your second of the night. The feud between Castle Crashers and Oda's Revenge got hot, and it was a hot match to boot, and a 5-star to close out the card. When the rescoring happens, you're going to benefit from that. I don't know if it's going to change the score here just because the 4.5 was already pretty good that the game was accidentally reading. But for now, the results are as follows. We've got Eduardo. I don't know how he ended up with more viewers, despite the fact, I guess he must have won the hype battle, even though he had a lower that's fascinating. I don't know how that's determined, because I always thought it was the highest scars first. But even though he had a lower rated card, he's higher up here, but he got fewer fans. Walter, sorry, buddy. It was a fine card. It just, I think you low rolled in a couple places, but we don't know what these ratings will actually be, so we're not going to get held up on them for too much longer. Instead,
I win. Thank you for letting me win the weekly.
Well, we've still got 2 weeklies beyond this anyway, so you'll have to stay tuned for the next episode. But until then, Xander, where can the nice people at home find you?
Hello, everybody. You can find me on all socials at Tentacle Coach. I'm a League of Legends coach, just a reminder. So if you're looking for that good League of Legends coaching, please feel free to hit me up. I will also say, once again, I'm going to remind you guys every week, please go check out at CUNY BC Esports. That's CUNY BC Esports. Brooklyn College. Our season's underway. Valorant, League of Legends, Rocket League, Smash, and Counter-Strike. We're really good at all of them. So if you like collegiate esports, it's something you want to follow, come root for Brooklyn College. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. And you go show them some love. Tell them we sent you. And go listen. Steam Cleaners, our new episode of the Rough Drafts podcast, came out today.
Woo!
Walter played some Quake and some Doom, and I played some Suzerain and learned that I would be bad at doing a politics. So if you want to listen to our thoughts on that, go check out that episode. We will be back in a couple of days with the next weekly, but until then, goodbye, Internet.
Goodbye, Internet.